Some people have said that the goal of these individuals is to, little by little, support people who are in favor of metro government. Is that true? Who knows? It's just one of those rumors that's out there. But I did want to ask that question. Do you favor metro government? I want to start with you.
I'll tell you, during the interview process, they didn't ask any questions of me that really pointed or led me to believe that was their ulterior motive. In terms of metro government, that's a tough one. I spent a lot of years in Nashville, and Nashville metro government in some ways work. In some ways, it's fairly inefficient. They have a huge commission or council, and I think sometimes there's infighting with that.
That never happens here.
That never happens here, you know.
Sorry, I couldn't help myself.
I know. I would like for Knox County to have metro government. But what I want to make sure people understand is that is not going to mean an immediate savings in terms of property tax. In fact, the cost of doing business probably will go up as some of these people. I mean, it's not there's not going to be a magic day where there's duplications of services and we're going to lay off half of the staff. So, in terms of rolling people out off of the payrolls, you're probably going to have some incentive. You're going to have to bring systems together from an IT standpoint. So there'll be actually a cost increase, and I do think a metro form of government is the way to go. But, you know, I forgot who pointed that out to me. It may have been Tim Birch or someone, but they made the point that the areas that have metro government have come in times of despair. And that, in my mind, is not a time to make a conscious decision. You know, if there's a big fallout or a big controversy, that's not the time to kind of cut bait and form the metro government. I like it. I think it needs to be studied, but I don't think it's going to happen in the next 5 or 10 years.
And you talked about duplication of services and making government more efficient. What do you think about metro government?
Well,
is that the way to do it?
In the first place, I'm a business owner and I pay taxes in this county. I pay city taxes on my business and county taxes. I'm a property owner. I pay county taxes and city taxes. I do those things, and sometimes it bothers me paying double taxes like that. You know, I believe that the community will be served better with metro government. I do believe that. I also want to emphasize that when PAC send us those invitations for their support, come for the interviews, I refuse to go to that interview. And so my opponent being awarded that PAC money had nothing to do with me because I didn't participate in that. And so that doesn't mean anything to me. But my point is that whatever we can do to make this place better, we should put the county and the city government first, your community first. And whatever we can do to make it better is what we have to do. And we should put our personal and our agendas aside. You know, I see those duplications, and I don't like them.
No. Now, when you were appointed, there were some people who were not happy about it. They said, hey, this isn't fair to the election for you to appoint somebody who is going to be running in the general election. Mm-hmm. What have you learned during this time that you think would it overshadow those voices that you know of Pete Drew and some of your former opponents?
Well, what I've learned is I have a much better feeling for how county government runs, what the problems are in the first district, and how it's not a simple solution. I've said from day one that if I won the Democratic primary, that I would seek the appointment. I'm not in this race to be a popular or anything of that nature. When I committed to serve the people of the Knox County, the first district in particular, I said, if you all want me, I will serve. Overwhelmingly, I won the race against 4 other opponents in a largely Democratic district. I fared very well. The people said, "No, we want you to take office now, to get started now, to get the first district where it needs to be in terms of perception from a certain aspect, and because that seat was a controversial seat in the past, but also we understand that you're savvy enough to handle the storms that's going to come in the next 6 months. There was all kinds of controversy surrounding the audit that were coming, the budget process. This was a critical 6 months. So I really think it would have been irresponsible. In fact, I've talked to a couple of the other districts, and there's some apprehension that that they maybe should have taken the seat, because now's the time to get started. Not in as soon as possible. Just let me say that. So I made the personal decision that I want to get started right away.
Was there anything different than you expected it to be?
Oh,
in your
yes,
experience?
it was. Totally different in terms of the volume, the sheer volume of information that's given to us, and with that comes a responsibility. Although the first district is totally encumbered by the city limits, and so we don't deal with roads and things of that nature. There are roads. There are tax increment financing that happens in some areas that may or may not should. There's all kinds of issues that I really didn't have a clue about walking into the door. But I've learned a lot, and I feel that I've done a good job.
To give you the opportunity to respond as well, were you in favor of him taking that appointment, and what
No.
do you think of this time that's passed over the past 6
I
months?
felt that it was completely wrong for Mr. McKenzie to be appointed by the commissioners. I also feel that he did get a position because of Mr. Strickland. I also know that Mr. Strickland campaigned for Mr. McKenzie during the primaries and sat in front of Austin East High School with his cards handing out for people to vote for him. I felt that it was unethical for him to even sit on the board and recommend him to be the appointee. I felt it was wrong, and I voiced my opposition to that at that time. I also feel that there are very few people in that district who believe that they own that district, and they believe that they control that district. This is one of the reasons why I'm running for this seat, because I want to stop that. And I think it's completely wrong for that to go on. For instance, our former commissioner who was sitting on this seat, all the things that was done by her at that time was completely despicable so far as I'm concerned. And I'll stand up to anybody, anywhere, and voice this out. It was wrong. It was wrong. Those wrong has to stop. I've had people come to me and say, you live in that district. They don't care who they put in place. And I felt insulted. Yes, they do. They do. But it looks as if the district has been hijacked by some few people and nobody has challenged them. And I think it's time to change those things. And I think it's completely wrong for these things to go on. And we need to change it together. And I intend to. That's why I'm fighting for this seat.
Now, I've watched a few county commission meetings since you have been appointed. And I'd love to tell you I have memorized your voting record. I have not. I do recall a few things that you have taken position on. And you seem to be very opposed to unfunded mandates. I'll put it that way. But also you seem to be very concerned about the makeup of certain boards when it comes to race. Is that something that you view as your role, being a first district commissioner, making sure that there are a certain number of African Americans on every board and whatnot? Is that part of your